Today, we are going to talk about the Child Protection Policy or the Republic Act 7610, or also known as the Special Protection of Children. So this law was enacted by the DepEd. It is to protect the children against abuse, exploitation, discrimination, and any other factors nga uh, kuan sa physical and mental health sa bata. So kani nga law, it is a law that provides stronger deterrence and special protection against child abuse, exploitation, discrimination sa mga bata, especially when they are in school. So as a future educator, we have to know, or our rule is not just to teach children but also to protect their well-being, especially when they are in the school. Like we have to protect them against the bullying, kay kanang mga bullying mga this is the very rampant kaayo sa mga bata, and we have to protect them from that para dili makuan ang physical and mental health sa usa ka bata. But before that, let me explain what is a child. So I know all of you know what is the definition of a child, and because it is already discussed to us by Ma'am Shama sa first day pa lang nga meet nato sa iya. So the child is any person below 18 years of age, or katong mga bata nga bisag labaw na ana nga edad but they are unable to take care of themselves or protect themselves from the abuse, violence, or exploitation, discrimination, bullying, and other forms of abuse of a physical or mental disability or condition. Or in short, kani sila nga mga tao katong even though they are above that 18 years of age but they cannot protect themselves. Mao ni sila katong mga bata gud nga mga they have something in their mental health condition nga gina-take advantage na lang sa tao para i-discriminate or i-bully na siya nga mga bata. And we are going to talk about the consequences also later on sa ato ang discussion for the day. Ano nga ba ang goal ng CPC or the Child Protection Policy nga gi-outline sa Republic Act 7610, or the Special Protection of Children? So the goal of this RA or this law is to protect the children. So it is very self-explanatory naman, no? And from the title pa lang sa law, so this is the law nga nagaprotekta sa mga bata against the exploitation, the abuse, kanang mga physical or mental torture when it comes to their place, the school place or sa eskwelahan nga ilahang eskwelahan. So this is a act nga naga-safeguard sa mga bata. So we have here the prohibited acts nga gina-cover sa RA 7610. So the first one is the child abuse. So the child abuse, this is the prohibited act that refers to the maltreatment of a child, whether it is habitual or not, or kanang, for example, the psychological abuse or the physical abuse, neglect, and they are the mga bata nga prone to cruelty, or they are sexually abused or emotionally maltreated by a single person, or kanang bisag unsa mga acts or deed, like for example kanang mga degrading nga mga words nga nagakuan sa isa ka worth sa bata as a human being. Isa po sa mga nakuan sa child abuse is kanang i-deprive nimo sila when it comes to having their basic need for survival, like when they are seeking for food or when they are seeking for a shelter para mabuhi sila while they are still here on earth. And isa po sa mga nakuan sa child abuse is the failure to immediately give medical treatment to an injured child resulting in an impairment of her growth or development, or the child incapacities or permanent incapacity, or even if you have the failure to give them medical treatment nga nagaresulta sa ila para mamatay. So this is naa siya sa section 3 of RA 7610. next one is the discrimination against children. This is the act of exclusion, like distinction or restriction or preferences which is based on any ground such as kanang i-discriminate sila when it comes to their age, ethnicity, sex, sexual orientation, and their gender identity. Also, their language. Naapod ka na mga i-discriminate sila because of their religion, their political kanang mga political side or their opinion or the national or social origin. Naapod ka ng mga property or kanang even if they are infected or affected by the you are all familiar with the HIV or the AIDS, or even though kanang mabuntis good sila, kanang early pregnancy or being a child in a conflict with being kanang mga mga child with disability or other status condition, and which has the purpose or effect of nullifying and impairing the recognition, enjoyment, or exercise by all person on an equal footing of all rights and freedom. So, mao ni siya ang mga discrimination nga ginakuan sa RA 7610. Next, we have this child exploitation. So, this refers to the use of children for someone else's advantage. So, I think rampant po ni siya nga issue. You are using a child for your advantage. Like, imuha siyang patrabahoon para naa kay makaon, instead na ikaw ang motrabaho para naa kay mukaon, or kanang gratification or profit often resulting in an unjust or cruel and harmful treatment of the child. And if kanang dili niya makuan imuhang gusto para sa iya, imuha siyang i-maltreat. And also, these activities disrupt the child's normal physical or mental health, like maka-affect po na ni siya sa education sa isa ka bata, and also their moral emotional development. In kanang it covers the situation of manipulation, kanang i-manipulate nimo ang isa ka bata for your own good, or i-misuse nimo, or kanang i-abuse nimo, victimize, i-oppress nimo siya sa iyang freedom, or kanang treat nimo siya in a way nga dili dapat nimo siya i-treat ana nga way, because a child is dili pod nimo siya i-oppress kung unsa iyahang gusto sa iyahang life. There are two kinds of exploitation nga gi-recognize siya. So the first one is the sexual exploitation. This refers to the abuse of position of vulnerability, differential power, or trust for sexual purposes. Kanang nag-include dira ang forcing a child to participate in a prostitution or the production of pornographic material. As a result, nga ang isa ka bata masubject siya into a threat, the deception, coercion, abduction, force, abuse of authority, debt, bondage, fraud, or through abuse of victims' vulnerability. The next one is the economic exploitation. As what I've said earlier, the child are used in work or other activities for the benefit of others. For example, kana siya, economic exploitation involves in a certain gain or profit through the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. This includes, but it is not limited to, illegal child labor as defined siya sa RA 9231 nga ang mga bata is ikuan nimo siya into economic exploitation. The next one is the violence against children committed in school. This refers to the single act or a series of acts committed by school administrators, academic and non-academic personnel against the child, which result in or is likely to result in a physical, sexual, psychological harm or suffering, or other abuses including threats such as act, battery, assault, coercion, harassment, or arbitrary deprivation of liberty. ay isa ana nga nag-include is the physical violence. This refer to the act nga naga-inflict of a body or physical harm sa isa ka bata. It includes assigning a children to perform a task nga dili dapat para sa iya, which are hazardous to their physical or well-being. So the next one is the sexual violence. This refers to the acts that are sexual in nature, or it includes like rape, sexual harassment, acts of making demeaning or sexual suggestive remarks, physically attacking the sexual part of the victim's body, and also about the kanang i-force good nimo ang isa ka bata to watch obscene publication and indecent shows, or forcing the child to do indecent sexual acts and or engage in a be involved in the creation of distribution of a sudden film, kanang mga indecent na publication materials. And isa po na nakuan ana is the acts that cause or attempting to cause the child to engage in any sexual activity by force, threat or force, physical or other harmful threat or physical or kana go mga kuan kanang mga gift of favor sa isa ka tao. Next is the corporal punishment. So what is a corporal punishment? This refer to a kind of punishment or penalty imposed for an alleged or actual offense. Kana go mga na ay mga offenses ng mga bata o niya makuan sila, ma-impose sila sa mga kanang of kuan good mga punishment. So this is carried out or inflicted for the purpose of discipline, training, or control by a teacher, school administrator, or any adult nga mga or any other child which has been given or has assumed authority or responsibility to face punishment or discipline. It includes physical, humiliating, or degrading punishment. For example, kanang i-beat nimo ang isa ka bata, kanang sipaon nimo, sampalon nimo, or unsa ba dira nga mga kuan sa isa ka bata, bisag asa sa iyahang body. So sa unang nga panahon, ang mga teacher, they are allowed to kanang kusion gud ang isa ka bata, but today they are not allowed to because there is this law nga naga-protect sa ila. For example, kanang bunala nimo ang bata og kuan kanang stick or belt, ay kita sa balay ginabunalan ta sa una sa atong papa og belt whenever makasala ta, but we are protected by that. Naapod dira ka ng mga kuan good kanang pulling the hair of a child, shaking, twisting joints, cutting or kanang i-pierce ang skin, dragging, pushing or throwing up a child, or something nga i-force nimo ang child to perform physically painful or damaging acts such as kanang holding waist, or kanang ipa-nail nimo siya sa stone, pebbles, or the other object. Kanang i-deprive po nimo ang isa ka bata sa iyahang physical need as a form of a punishment. So that is not good. So that is not. So the last one is the bullying or peer abuse. So we already know what is bullying or peer abuse. So peer abuse or the bullying, it is the prohibited acts that refers to a willful aggressive behavior that is directed toward a particular victim or a child who may be outnumbered, younger, weak, or with the someone who has disability, less confident, or otherwise they are the person nga very vulnerable. So the bullying, this is the committed when a student commits an act or a series of acts directed towards another person or a student, or a series of single acts directed to several students in a school setting or a place of learning, which results in physical and mental abuse, harassment, intimidation, or humiliation. For example, kanang i-threat nimo ang isa ka person upon their honor, their property, or because of his or her family, or kanang i-humiliate nimo ang isa ka bata, whether it is a public or malicious imputation of a crime or a vice of or defect, whether real or imaginary, or any act nga nagakuan siya into circumstances tending to cause dishonor, discredit, or expose a person in any way. Kani po siya katong mga deliberate destruction or defacement of a or damage to a child's property. Kanang i-restrain po nimo ang isa ka bata from their liberty and freedom as a pupil or a student. The declaration of policy, the DepEd shall ensure that our schools are conducive to the education of children. And also, dapat ang mga teacher, they are the substitute parents and are expected to discharge their functions and duties. So the DepEd also promulgate a zero tolerance DepEd policy for any act of child abuse, exploitation, violence, discrimination, bullying, and other forms of abuse sa isa ka eskwelahan. So, dapat maging ang isa ka teacher. Next, let's go to the duties and responsibilities of every individual nga kuan ani nga law. So, the Section 5 or the regional offices shall have the following duties and responsibilities. First is they have to encourage and support advocacy campaigns and capability building activities on the prevention of child abuse, violence, exploitation, and discrimination, bullying, and other forms of abuse, promotion of positive and nonviolent discipline, for example, ng mga conflict resolution and peer mediation. I-consolidate po nila ang mga reports on incident and cases of divisions, offices to the region and submit a regional report. Ka-familiar mo na anang Annex A to the Undersecretary for Legal and Legislative Affairs. I-monitor po nila og evaluate the implementation and enforcement of this department order by the schools, division offices, and such other related laws and regulations relative to abuse, exploitation, violence, and discrimination of children. And they also have to exercise disciplinary jurisdiction where appropriate pursuant to the revised rules of procedures of the Department of Education in administrative cases and other existing laws, rules, and regulations. And they have to give recommendations to the central office on the policies, programs, and services to address and prevent the cases sa mga child abuse, exploitation, violence, discrimination, and peer abuse sa isa ka bata. And also, sa Section 6, the division offices shall have also to conduct the information dissemination activities and in-service training for teachers on the protection of children in school from abuse, violence, exploitation, discrimination, bullying, or peer abuse, and other related mga cases. So they have to undertake advocacy campaigns and capability building activities to enable the child to do something ma-apply nila and kanang dili mga it is mga non-violent nga mga discipline kuan po sa usa ka bata to formulate and implement guidelines and procedures to emphasize the role of all stakeholders and other persons in the prevention and reporting of cases such as bullying, and also to provide conflict resolution of peer mediation, including referral to appropriate services providers if needed. So they also have to conduct the capacity building. So the duties and responsibilities of school kanang they have to ensure nga protected ang isa ka bata and ma-monitor sa every individual ang compliance ani nga law. They also have to ensure that the school adopts a child protection policy ay organize yun nila kanang ikuan yun nila i-implement yun nila sa ilahang eskwelahan. And they have to coordinate with the offices and other agency nga para kuan ang assistance or appropriately disseminated to every individual. So in establishing a child protection committee sa isa ka eskwelahan na agid ng isa ka school head or the administrator or the chairperson, naabot sa eskwelahan ang guidance counselor or the teacher or the vice chairperson, the representative of the teachers as designated by the faculty club, the representative of the parents such as kana magkuan kag mga PTA, the PTA president or whatsoever is that. Representative of pupils or students as designated by the Supreme Student Council, like ang mga president sa for the example, the organization here in the Durso, we have the governor, the vice governor, the internal and external, the secretary, and so on. And also the representative from the community as designated by the punong barangay or the preferably the BCPC. So, what is the role of this kanang mga committees or the child protection committees? So they are the one who initiate information dissemination programs and organize activities for the protection of the children. So sila gyud ang manguna when it comes to disseminating that information. They also have the established system for identifying students who may be suffering from significant harm based on any physical, emotional, or behavioral signs. So, mao nang naatay ka ng mga guidance office because we are open to those students para ma-identify po nato if they have something, they are suffering from something or they have this mental health issues, and so we can help them. And also they are these committees, they are the one who monitor and implement the positive measures and effective procedures in providing the necessary support for the child and for those child who needs care. And they are also the ones that ensure the children's rights to be heard and are respected and upheld in all matters procedure affecting their welfare. So sila gyud ang mga tao nga manguna, dapat sila ang moprotekta or sila ang mo respeto anak nga law to upheld the child para dili pod ma-affect ang well-being of a child. So if we have these committees, there are also the preventive measures or what they call that the capacity building of school officials, personnel, parents, and students. So there is these strategies para maano na siya nga mga measures. So the first one is conducting sessions, trainings, and seminars on positive peer relation and enhancement of social and emotional competence. So, na-discuss naman ako ganina nga there are these prohibited acts nga nagakuan sa isa ka bata to deprive him from his or her freedom. So, kanaapod katong bullying and peer pressure. So, for that, para makuan po na siya nga mga, para ma-address po na nga mga issue, they have to conduct sessions, trainings, and seminars para kuan po ang isa ka bata to have a positive peer relationship, ma-enhance po nila ang social and emotional competence. And they also have to use training modules such which include positive and non-violent discipline in classroom management and gender sensitivity. So naapo tong di ba kanang bullying because or kanang discrimination against their gender for example kanang mga LGBT environment. So they are prone to discrimination. So we have to be sensitive for that because all of us has the right, and yeah, we are just living in this world. So if, they also have to employ of means which enhance the skills and pedagogy in integrating and teaching children and their rights in the classroom. Next one is the protective and remedial measures to address bullying and other acts of abuse. So naagid dapat mga remedial measures or kana dapat gyud i-address kana siya nga mga habits or kana siya nga mga prohibited acts. So the first one is tanang mga bullying incident shall be reported to the school head. And the school head shall in turn inform the parents of the pupils concerned and a meeting shall be held for that purpose. And the student shall be referred to the CPC for counseling and other interventions.